makeup and image and all of that crap was never important to us.
I was one of those people who would get violent when they would get drunk, which is very bad.
They were uncompromising. They were the real deal.
They started off as the people's band. You know, if you were unemployed or you worked in a factory, you went to see Metallica.
Metallica were the hardest and the fastest. They created a thrash underground, the vision of band leader and drummer Lars Ulrich. But it could have been so different for Stadium Rock. We discovered his secret past.
Well, I grew up in Denmark and was basically setting myself up for a career in tennis.
A tennis champion of Denmark, Lars' father, seen here on the right, was also a keen musician. The young Lars inherited both talents, but the teenage prodigy had to choose between them.
I went on this big pilgrimage back to England in the summer of 1981. Spent a lot of time punting around with bands like Iron Maiden and Motorhead. I went back to America to officially dump the whole tennis thing and start a rock band and become a rock star in, 10 days or less.
James Hetfield, rhythm guitar and vocals.
Lars Ulrich, drums and bongs.
Dave Mustaine, lead guitar. Cliff Burton, bass guitar.
At 18 years old, they were a Motorhead cover band who couldn't take their beer. But they had a plan. They would create a new sound, thrash metal.
We would just go to rehearsal, we'd play a bunch of cover songs, we'd get super stoned and super drunk, and then we'd, see who fell asleep first and then wrote on their face.
I never thought that they would do anything significant. I remember touring with those guys going, they got a lot of heart, but they'll never make it.
This one is gonna kill all the fake people out there, all the posers.
Metallica had a mission to blow away glam metal, but they were battling against the times. Bands like Motley Crue and their spandex chums were ruling the clubs of Los Angeles.
The guys from Motley Crue show up, fuck Motley Crue.
They were mingling at the bar, sharing hairspray tips, and we were up on stage playing louder and faster.
It was like, very much of what was going on in England. If you were a mod, you hated the rockers, and if you were a punk, you hate, it's like, that's what it was about. Problem with us were that apart from Hetfield, we weren't really all that huge, and the guys in Motley Crue, even without their stilettos, they were 6'5", so it didn't become much of a fight, more about a chase.
It was a little bit of a wrestling match.
All right, thank you!
Metallica soon had a new lineup. Guitarist Kirk Hammett and bass player Jason Newsted replaced Cliff Burton, who died when their tour bus fell on top of him, and Dave Mustaine, who left after James Hetfield kicked his dog. They soon became the biggest underground band in America. Throughout the 80s, their trademark sound became the voice of disaffected American youth. Without any radio or TV support, they were selling shed loads and filling stadia. No band had been as big without making pop videos.
What we were doing up through those years was so different from what was going on at radio and MTV in America that, we felt sort of, why bother?
But after 8 years of snubbing MTV, they shocked their fans by making their first video and changing their sound.
They got in Bon Jovi's old engineer, a guy called Bob Rock, to produce an album which they simply called Metallica.
The guys in Anthrax and Megadeth would just like tease them so much if it was melodic and nice, right?
But it just busted the radio wide open for them. From there on, they went from being a very good heavy metal band to an excellent stadium band with mass appeal.
And nothing else matters.
The lords of thrash were writing tuneful, radio-friendly hits. Many fans were outraged that the album contained ballads. Metallica were becoming pop stars.
Open mind for a different view.
Metallica have changed in the sense that they've become everything they laughed at, across the board. I remember the bass player Jason Newsted telling me that he said the day the posters went up in Paris with a picture of them in makeup, the tickets stopped selling overnight. They've taken themselves far too seriously, and they can't decide if they're like a rock band or I think they're some indie art band.
If the mid-90s makeup, short hair and arty videos were too rich for some, what came next was harder to swallow. For the band that defined thrash metal, this is how you grow old, gracefully.
You know, I would have showed you one of my fingers if you would have suggested this back then, you know.
We have always felt like outsiders, have always felt like underdogs, have always felt that we were in some way always, you know, going against the grain.
We've got to move on, man. There's no rearview mirror in the Metallica wagon, you know. We're going forward all the time.
Metallica's great legacy really is to take a more extreme form of heavy metal and put it into stadiums to prove that this kind of music isn't just cult appeal made by a few bozos with long hair and knuckles dragging on the floor, but intelligent guys that can write decent songs and sell an awful lot of tickets.